You weren't born to doubt yourself. You weren't born to shrink in rooms you were meant to lead. You weren't born to silence your truth just to keep others comfortable. But somewhere along the line, you were taught to forget your fire. You learned to second-guess your intuition. You learned to flinch before you spoke. You learned to hesitate, to play small, to dim your light because someone told you it was too bright. But let me remind you of something that life tried to make you unlearn. You are not weak. You are not invisible. You are not here to be background noise in your own life. You are powerful. And not because you've achieved some title, not because you wear a mask of confidence in front of others, but because you still have choice. The choice to rebuild yourself. The choice to return to your true nature. Bold, driven, unapologetically alive. Confidence is not born in ease. It is built in the furnace of decision. It is carved out of discomfort. It is earned through every moment you choose to act while afraid, to speak while uncertain, to rise while the world expects you to disappear. You want to know how to build confidence? Start by breaking the addiction to approval. Confidence dies where comparison lives. It dies every time you measure your worth by someone else's opinion. It dies every time you scroll, envy, compare, and forget that you were built from a blueprint no one else carries. Edison didn't need a guarantee. He believed and did the work anyway. Carnegie didn't wait for a round of applause. He built the empire from the dirt up. They weren't chasing likes. They were chasing legacy. And you don't need to be fearless. You need to move through fear. You need to choose momentum over perfection. Because confidence is not a feeling you wait for. It is a muscle you train. Every time you speak up when you used to stay silent. Every time you keep the promise you made to yourself. Every time you act when your hands are shaking. You earn a little more of your own respect. And that's where power begins. It begins the moment you stop outsourcing your worth. The moment you realize that validation isn't oxygen. You don't need to be liked, you need to be true. That truth, it lives under the noise. It's the voice you've been suppressing for years. The one that says, I want more. More courage, more clarity, more life than what you've been taught to settle for. Confidence is remembering that voice and acting on it. But confidence alone is not enough. Because personal power, that's different. That's deeper. That's the force that walks into a room and doesn't need to announce itself. That's the calm in chaos. The presence that speaks without shouting. The energy that others feel before you even open your mouth. Personal power is built in silence. It's built in the choices no one sees. It's built when you decide, I don't break for pressure. I rise inside it. And no, you don't find that power by reading affirmations. You earn it through action, through ownership, through the inner work most people avoid for their entire lives. Because here's the truth. The strongest people you know aren't loud. They don't need to be. They walk with gravity. They move with intention, and they built it all. From moments no one applauded. From days they wanted to quit, but didn't. You want to build confidence and personal power? Then stop waiting to feel ready. Start now, while your voice trembles, while the doubt creeps in, while your feet hesitate at the edge of the unknown. Because power doesn't arrive when you're certain. It arrives because you moved while uncertain. And every time you do that, you collect proof. Not proof for them, proof for you. Proof that you can trust yourself, that you can depend on your word, that you can carry weight others run from. And when that trust compounds, you stop performing for the world and start living from the core. You don't need perfect circumstances. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You just need a reason that burns hotter than your fear. A reason that anchors you when doubt screams. A reason that reminds you, you've already survived worse than this. Power comes from memory. From remembering what you've already overcome. From remembering the nights you didn't think you'd make it, but did. From remembering that the person you were becoming was forged through every setback, every delay, every breakdown that didn't finish you. So don't forget who you are. You are not fragile. You are not lost. You are not broken. You are becoming. Becoming someone who doesn't flinch at the mirror. Becoming someone who moves with a mission. Becoming someone who no longer apologizes for taking up space. Confidence isn't about never feeling doubt. It's about refusing to let doubt decide who you are. And the more you do that, the more you stand when everything shakes, the more you lead when your voice isn't perfect, the more you follow through when no one's watching. The more you realize that your power has nothing to do with how the world sees you, and everything to do with how you see yourself. Confidence without clarity is chaos. You can't lead your life if you don't know where you're going. You can't move with power if you're still waiting for someone to tell you what matters. Clarity is the blade that cuts through the noise. It strips away the distractions, the people-pleasing, the endless wandering. It demands that you stop asking, "What do they want from me?" and start asking, "What do I demand from myself?" The most powerful people alive aren't the ones who do the most. They're the ones who know what not to do. They say no more than they say yes. They're not chasing everything. They're devoted to something. Clarity is not just about vision. It's about values. It's about being ruthlessly loyal to what matters to you, even if it costs you approval, convenience, comfort. When you get clear, your steps get bold. You stop drifting. You stop wasting your life chasing vague ideas of success. You define what winning looks like for you, and you pursue it like your life depends on it, because it does. But clarity without discipline is just a fantasy. It's the blueprint that never becomes a building, the dream that dies in the mouth of procrastination. Discipline is the translation of belief into behavior. It's what turns potential into progress. It's what builds momentum on the days you feel like doing nothing. Most people think discipline is about restriction. But that's not true. Discipline is freedom. It's the freedom to trust yourself, to know that when you say you're going to do something, you do it. That's power. Not bravado, not arrogance, but integrity with yourself. Discipline isn't always loud. It's not glamorous. It doesn't beg for attention. But it's there. In the early mornings, the missed temptations, the quiet repetitions. It's in the decision to show up for your future self, even when your current self wants comfort. It's in the daily battle between your feelings and your standards, and choosing your standards every single time. And the deeper your discipline, the stronger your identity. You start to see yourself differently. Not as someone trying to succeed, but as someone who does not fail. Because your standards are higher than your circumstances. Your mission is louder than your mood. Your purpose is heavier than your excuses. That's when you stop reacting to life and start leading it. Inner leadership is the rarest form of power. It's the ability to move forward without a crowd, without applause, without a perfect plan. It's the power to say, "This is where I'm going," and go there even when no one understands why. It means being the one in the room who doesn't fold when the pressure rises. It means holding the line when everyone else compromises. It means living in alignment with your own code, even when it costs you. And yes, it will cost you. But it will never bankrupt you like self-betrayal will, because there is no confidence in pretending, no peace in hiding, no power in living someone else's life. You want to walk with confidence? Then walk with alignment. You want to radiate power? Then live in integrity. Not perfection, integrity. The deep, steady truth that your actions match your words. That your life is not an accident. It is a response to your values. And over time, that's what creates identity. Not what you say, not what you hope, but what you do consistently. You are what you tolerate. You are what you repeat. You are what you allow to happen when no one's watching. And so look at your patterns. Look at what you let slide. Look at what you've normalized in your health, in your habits, in your mindset, because that's where your identity lives. If you want to change who you are, don't start with motivation. Start with standards. Raise them, honor them, enforce them. And over time, confidence won't be something you chase. It will be something you carry. Personal power won't be something you perform. It will be something you are. Because the strongest force on this earth is a human being who refuses to betray their potential, who wakes up with clarity, walks with discipline, and leads themselves when no one else will. That's how you earn your own respect. That's how you build a mind the world cannot shake. That's how you rise into the person you were always meant to be. Confidence without resilience is decoration. It looks good on the surface until life applies pressure, but real confidence, real power, it's not loud. It doesn't break. It bends, it bleeds, it gets knocked down, but it rises harder every single time. Resilience is your refusal to stay down. It's what you choose when life tests your patience, your plans, your belief in yourself. It's built in the tension between what you want and what it takes. It's not the bounce back, it's the bounce forward. Because the truth is, you're going to fall. You're going to be doubted, ghosted, overlooked, underestimated. You'll be told no more times than yes. And in those moments, when the world goes quiet and the lights go dim,
you'll face the real question.
Will I let this define me? Or will I use this to refine me? Because the most powerful people you'll ever meet aren't the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who refused to break. They turned pain into clarity, rejection into redirection, delay into discipline. They didn't build themselves in the spotlight. They built themselves in the silence. And you have that same ability, that same fire, that same unshakable core that doesn't get buried. It just gets buried alive until you dig it back out. Resilience is not natural. It's a decision to move forward, not perfectly, not fearlessly, but deliberately. You take the hit, you feel the weight. But you don't give the pain your permission to define who you are. You decide, this moment will make me stronger. This pain will teach me something. This isn't where I stop, it's where I sharpen. That's power, not having all the answers, but refusing to quit asking the right questions. And when you start living like that, you unlock emotional dominance, the ability to feel everything without being controlled by anything. You feel fear, but you move. You feel anger, but you choose peace. And you feel doubt, but you still show up with conviction. That's not numbness, that's mastery. You stop letting external chaos destroy your internal clarity. You stop handing over your power to moods, moments, or other people's behavior. Because now your emotions are not drivers. They are data. And you are the one behind the wheel. No more blaming. No more leaking power through excuses. No more spiraling every time something doesn't go your way. You're building emotional muscle now. And the heavier the pressure, the more powerful you become, because you're not here to stay safe. You're here to build something real. Unbreakable character, bulletproof confidence, a mind no storm can shake. You're here to become someone so rooted, so self-led, so fully alive, that people feel your presence before you ever speak. And that doesn't come from pretending. It doesn't come from reading quotes or performing strength. It comes from doing the damn work, from waking up and choosing power, even when your body's tired, even when your mind wavers, even when your soul whispers, maybe you can't. You say back, watch me. You lead yourself through resistance, through uncertainty, through fear that used to own you, because now you own you. And when you do that, truly do that, you become undeniable. Not because life gets easier, but because you get harder to break. You show up not to prove anything to anyone, but to honor the person you've been becoming, to pay respect to the version of you who didn't quit when it got dark, to give voice to the power you once buried beneath fear and distraction. That's the mark of personal power, not dominance over others, but mastery of self. It is earned, not claimed, felt, not faked, and it lives in you now, even if you've forgotten. So here's the truth. You don't need to become someone else. You just need to return to the person you were before the world taught you to doubt, before the failure, before the heartbreak, before you got scared to be seen. That version of you, still alive, still waiting, still burning underneath every excuse you've ever used. And it's time now. Time to stop hiding. Time to stop rehearsing weakness. Time to step into the skin that already fits. Time to reclaim the voice, the mind, the identity that was never lost, just unpracticed. Because confidence is not a gift, it's a decision, and personal power is not given. It is forged by you, right now. Starting here, this is your moment. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, not when it's more convenient, now. Because if you don't claim it now, you're training yourself to hesitate. You're teaching your future self that doubt is stronger than destiny. But what if instead you drew a line, right here, right now, and said, no more? No more shrinking to fit into places you've already outgrown. No more waiting for permission from a world too afraid to rise itself. No more apologizing for your hunger, your intensity, your obsession with becoming more. Because the truth is, they won't understand. They won't see what you see. They won't hear the voice inside you that says, this life, your life, was never meant to be average. But you hear it, and you always have. That's why this message found you. Not by accident and not for entertainment, but as a mirror. To show you the part of yourself that refuses to die quietly. To remind you of the fire that's been burning beneath the surface even while you were pretending to be fine. To reignite the vision that still lives under the fear, under the pressure, under the years of silence. You want to know how to build confidence? Act before you're ready. Speak before you're certain. Move while the doubt is still loud. You want personal power? Then make power a habit. Show up daily, not for the world, but for the future version of you who's watching, waiting, counting on you to stop negotiating with comfort and start leading like it's already done. Because it is. You were not born to wonder what you could have been. You were not built to die with your potential still trapped in your chest. You were designed for more. But more doesn't happen on its own. It is demanded. It is earned. It is embodied. Every day you choose belief over fear. Every morning you rise with intention. Every time you fall and get back up, you are becoming the living proof that confidence is not something you find. It's something you build. And personal power, it's not in your title. It's not in your bank account. It's not in your resume. It's in the way you carry yourself in the dark. It's in the way you walk toward discomfort with your head up and your soul awake. It's in the way you honor your vision, especially when no one else can see it yet. Because greatness is not a product of the spotlight. It's born in the shadows, in the unseen work, in the quiet commitment, in the ordinary days that you chose to make extraordinary. That's how it's done. That's how you build a life of depth, fire, and legacy. Not by waiting and not by hoping, but by leading yourself. So take the step, make the call, say the thing, write the words, start the mission. Because every time you take action, you cast a vote for the person you know you were born to be. And soon, that version of you won't just be an idea. He'll be real. She'll be undeniable. You'll wake up one day and realize you didn't become confident. You didn't become powerful. You became whole. Because the truth is, you were never missing anything. You just finally decided to stop waiting and start becoming.